Maya, 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 Maya,
Alo? Salut! Sunt eu, un haiduc și te rog, iubirea mea, primește fericirea. Alo? Alo? Sunt eu, Picasso, ți-am dat bip și sunt voinic, dar să știi, nu-ți cer nimic. Vrei să pleci, dar numai ei, numai ei, numai ei, chipul tău.
Reporting to you from halfway up a mountain in Maramures in northern Romania, and I'm reporting on what we've done today, which has been an absolutely incredible day. It's just one of those days that wow, you don't expect to happen. You know, we came here to Maramures to see Penny, who we met in the bar in Ukraine, just to have a chill out couple of days, and she's like, right guys, I'm going to take you some places. Woke up, had a fantastic fried breakfast, which always sets the day off well, and then she's like, right, we're going to get in the car and we're going to go off to see some places. Before that, though, she was telling us a bit about her life, and I mean, I've already kind of expressed a bit what a remarkable person she is. I mean, she lived in, you know, an oasis, in the Syria oasis in Egypt for years on end, travelled, you know, halfway around Europe in a camper van for years. But I noticed amongst the travels was also Sri Lanka. Tell me about that. Turns out they arrived in Sri Lanka and got caught in the tsunami. And ITV made a documentary about them as survivors of the tsunami. And the village they were in, they were like some of the only ones who actually survived it. And she was literally carried away by the, was it the New Year or the Boxing Day tsunami? Yeah, anyway, it's like, oh my God, that's ridiculous. So, yeah, and she told us it was really quite emotionally heart-rending stuff about, you know, her experiences in the Boxing Day tsunami. 2004, I think. I was in Hanoi at the time. I remember it on the TV. But Vietnam, although it wasn't that far away as things happened, probably nearer to the epicenter than Sri Lanka, but it was protected by the land masses, so nothing happened in Vietnam. Anyway, I digress. So, yeah, we got in the car and we went to a nearby village because there's a wooden church there. And there's these wooden churches all over Maramures. There's one in Breb, but it's brand new. And this is actually a proper original old wooden church. I'm not sure the name of the place, but I will put it in. And it's a UNESCO protected one. Apparently they should keep it open because it's UNESCO protected. And they paid some local family to do it. But then they slash their wages, so they just stop bothering and leave the key under the mat. But we went in, and this church, I mean, it was very atmospheric anyway, and the graveyard was very atmospheric. And apparently on the Day of the Dead, it's incredible with all the candles burning. But what was unbelievable were it was covered inside in frescoes. And they were this really naive peasant style, but they were so incredibly beautiful. I mean, I love naive art far more than sophisticated art. And this is like nothing I've ever seen before. The style was so crude and yet so brilliant and so well preserved. Like all the walls and the ceiling of this entirely wooden church covered in frescoes. And it was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. It was brilliant. I can't express enough how well worth going it is. So we went to that. Then we continued through the main town of the region, which is Sigurte Marmet or something like that. Again, I'll put it in the bottom. Past a monument to there'd been a prison. Apparently, it's a museum. We might try and go tomorrow, but we probably won't have time. people who died in the communist regime. It was like where they locked people up. There's a monument to that. And then we went to this place called the Merry Cemetery. Now, I'd heard of this place because it was on the Michael Palin program, New Europe, that he did. And basically, there was this guy who painted all the gravestones, and he carved images of the person who's buried there on these gravestones, and then wrote a ditty about each one. And it's now third generation; it's still going on. And it's wonderful. It's unique in the world. There's nowhere at all like this anywhere in the world where these, and again, very naive peasant art, but really beautiful. And the church in the middle is this just over the top monstrosity, but I rather liked it. Obviously, they'd have a lot of money for charging people to get into the graveyard. And they built this huge church, but it's frescoed inside, brand new frescoes, really good. And for me, I enjoyed it because I could show like Penny and Thomas, like, what the different saints were, what the different stories were. And they always say that, like in those days, just people couldn't read and write, the frescoes were like a Bible, a pictorial Bible, and they really were. And you could go through all the different stories. It was wonderful. So we did that. Also went shopping there. Thomas wanted to buy a peasant shirt for when we go to a folk festival, a folk costume for a folk festival. So he bought himself a peasant outfit from Maramures. So he's very pleased with that. And we also tried a local street food thing, which is it's a bit like langosh, which you get in Hungary. It's like a kind of big fluffy donutty thing, but this had cheese in. You can have sweet ones as well. I think it's virtually the same thing as langosh. Then we went on. We were going to go to Maramures, which is a famous one, but we didn't have time, so we went to a monastery nearby that it's brand new. It's very spectacular, but it is all new. And it's this wooden church with this ridiculously tall steeple. Apparently, it's the tallest in Maramures. And it was a very nice setting, but we didn't stick there long because we had to come back. And we had to come back because we were coming here. And where here is a sheep station off at the mountain. And Penny knows the people, and we're literally here with 3 generations of shepherds. They have their sheep station up the mountain, and the sheep here they don't seem to eat lamb very often, only at Easter, and everybody eats lamb at Easter, but the rest of the time nobody eats lamb very much. It's all about the cheese. It's all about milking the sheep. So just over there was a guy milking sheep one by one, and they got 500 of them, and I think 400 theirs and 100 are other people's, and other people come and support them for periods. But this is one of the very few permanent sheep stations up a mountain. Most are temporary, and people do a month up there and come back, and then somebody else takes over, and about 5 or 6 flocks are together. This is their land. They've got, I think, about 20 odd acres here, but beyond that is government land, which they can just graze their sheep on whatever. And so what it is it's incredible. And we, it's got all the dogs, because there are wolves here, and apparently it takes 5 of these massive sheepdogs to fight one wolf, and wolves fight in packs. So it got all these dogs, and this couple and their sons here, and it's a way of life that's almost unchanged for centuries. And a big contrast, because I went last year to a dairy farm owned by a relative of ours, and that's so mechanised in Britain, and everything's so industrial, and the contrast is huge. And it was really interesting. But and we've been trying this sheep's cheese. It's unsalted, a bit like mozzarella, but then we've been you can have it like as is, or we've been doing it with some fat, pork fat, which is gorgeous, and you kind of toast it on a fire like marshmallows, and it's absolutely glorious. But it's probably like the unhealthiest thing you could ever eat, because it's pure fat plus cheese, which is made out of fat. So yeah, so that's that. But this is like the kind of thing you can't book, you can't plan. It just happens, and it's really, really grateful to Penny for making this trip so incredibly special. We're going for a meal later. I don't know how I'll fit in after all that fat and cheese, but you know what? This is me, Uncle Travelling Matt, saying for the last time goodbye from Romania, because tomorrow we're off to the Ukraine.
Chipul tău și dragostea din tei Mi-amintesc de ochii tăi Vrei să pleci, dar numai ei Numai ei Numai ei Chipul tău și dragostea din tei Mi-amintesc de ochii tăi
Te sun să-ți spun ce simt acum. Alo, iubirea mea, sunt eu, fericirea.
1, 2, 3, go.
I can't do it now. It's really